This video is brought to you by Surfshark VPN. Hey, Wisecrack, Greg here. Today we're going to be talking not about the most famous animated sitcom of all time, but its hipster brother. That's right, Futurama. Matt Groening's beloved series took us 1,000 years into the future, showing us the world of tomorrow in all its slurm-chugging, tube-traveling glory. Now, you might think of Futurama as a show full of math gags.
Sweet Clyde. Use variation of parameters and expand the Ronskin.
Heads in jars.
I recognize you. Didn't you used to have a body of some sort?
Yeah, but it was holding me back.
And the single saddest thing ever put on television. And you wouldn't be wrong, but the show's futuristic setting also offers a pointed takedown of a defining belief in modern American culture that technology will save us all.
Your mistletoe is no match for my toe missile.
We'll explain how in this Wisecrack Edition on Futurama. And before we continue, I want to give a shout out to this week's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network which provides privacy, anonymity, and security to its users. Surfshark VPN secures your data with industry-leading measures by using uncrackable encryption and the most secure VPN protocols. It's fast, easy to install, and jam-packed with extra features, so you're really getting the bang for your buck. Most VPNs charge extra to connect to multiple devices, but with Surfshark VPN, you can connect to an unlimited amount with one subscription. That means that your phone, laptop, smart TV, and even your console will be protected by the industry-leading encryption. Check out Surfshark VPN today by going to surfshark.deals/wisecrack and use the promo code WISECRACK for 83% off and extra 3 months for free. Now back to the show. Futurama launched in 1999 with Groening using all his Simpsons clout to convince the network to let him make a show that was similar, but much weirder.
Oh, how convenient. A theory about God that doesn't require looking through a telescope. Get back to work.
It follows Philip J. Fry, a regular 90s schmuck who gets cryogenically frozen and wakes up 1,000 years into the future. The Earth he encounters is filled with bad-mannered robots and incompetent crustacean doctors.
Now open your mouth and let's have a look at that brain. No, not that mouth.
I only have one.
Really?
It's also inexplicably infested with owls. The show's sense of humor was way more, out there than The Simpsons. Each episode filled with esoteric physics jokes,
No fair! You change the outcome by measuring it.
dark moral quandaries,
Is it wrong to eat intelligent animals?
Absolutely not, Linda.
and high-concept sci-fi bits long before Rick Sanchez ever pulled on a lab coat.
Where does the other end come out?
You know, I'm not quite sure. Oh, dear me.
Futurama created its own unique universe, complete with an alien alphabet and all kinds of odd touches. And yet, Earth circa 3000 is immediately familiar to us because it's based on a blueprint of the future that's dominated our collective imagination for decades. With its dome-topped buildings, smooth curves, and sleek surfaces, this Earth is largely modeled after an architectural style called Populuxe, or Googie, if you're nasty. A mold that became popular in the mid-20th century for its bold vision of the future. It captured the imagination of a post-war America that seemed to be rocketing towards a brighter tomorrow. The economy was booming, creating a large middle class with money to blow on all the latest household gadgets. Meanwhile, the space race and the emergence of atomic power suggested boundless possibilities for where humanity might go next. All this led to the rise of something called techno-optimism. That is, the belief that advances in technology will generally make the world better rather than worse. This pleasant vision of the future was embodied by Disney's Tomorrowland attraction in 1967. Its House of the Future was packed with time-saving devices, highlighting the revolutionary effect technology would have on our lives. It was also constructed out of such heavy-duty plastic that a demolition crew wielding chainsaws, wrecking balls, and jackhammers struggled to tear it down. But where this vision of the world of tomorrow was really cemented was on 1960s television by the likes of Star Trek and even more relevantly, the Jetsons. This cartoon tale of a regular American family living up in 2062 has become such a pop cultural touchstone that even if you've never seen it, you still get the reference. And its futuristic elements remain some of our go-to examples today. Flying cars, hoverboards, and robot helpers. And the show's influence on Futurama is immediately clear. The Jetsons' vision of the future is also like Futurama's, rooted in 1950s Americana, prominently featuring Populuxe architecture, clunky machinery, and even a radio antenna. But there's a critical difference. While the Jetsons' world is an easygoing utopia where technology has ironed out many of life's daily annoyances, Futurama's is one in which technology has mostly just made those annoyances even more obvious.
I had nothing to live for in my old life. I was broke, I had a humiliating job, and I was beginning to suspect my girlfriend might be cheating on me.
Well, at least here you'll be treated with dignity. Now strip naked and get on the probulator.
According to the Jetsons, technological advancements means less work for regular people, leaving them free to enjoy their lives. Mr. Jetson only works for a couple of hours every week to support his cozy white-collar lifestyle, while his stay-at-home wife automates almost all of the housework. And back then, this probably seemed like a reasonable projection when time-saving gadgets like the dishwasher were appearing all the time.
Look at all it holds in just one loading.
The Jetsons kind of just seemed like a rocket power extension of what was already going on, even if their fold-up flying cars are still not available at your local CarMax. Futurama's world similarly ramps up the speed at which people live. Flying cars are now the norm, spaceships are commonplace, and pneumatic tubes have been built for even faster urban transit. But rather than saving time, these advances mostly serve to move people more quickly to the jobs they hate. Whereas the Jetsons imagine the future of work via easy jobs like professional button pusher, Futurama imagines working people stuck in boring and dangerous jobs to make ends meet.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Because while the technology needed to automate work does exist, humans are as disposable and cheap as ever.
This isn't a business. I've always thought of it more as a source of cheap labor, like a family.
And man, are their lives undervalued. After all, Fry only gets his job aboard the Planet Express ship because the original crew was killed by giant space wasps.
As luck would have it, I saved the chips from my previous crew.
What's more, the technology in Futurama hasn't expanded the choices available to working class people. It's constricted them by consolidating the entire planet under one all-encompassing bureaucracy. From the flashbacks of Fry's life in the 20th century, we can see how blue-collar people like him easily found themselves stuck working thankless dead-end jobs, like delivering pizzas. He was born working class, and barring some minor miracle, that's where he's likely to stay. His life sucks so much that he's actually happy to learn that he's been randomly tossed into the future.
My parents, my coworkers, my girlfriend. I'll never see any of them again. Yahoo!
But when he gets to the year 3000, pretty much the first thing he learns is that social stratification has been neatly streamlined. Everybody is outfitted with a career chip that assigns them their place in society, which is how Fry is able to wake up 1,000 years later and still find himself in basically the same place. The very real lack of upward mobility he faces in the present day is made literal in the future.
No, not again.
Of course, it's not all science fiction. Our real-life dreams of the future have morphed over time from everything will be so easy to everything will be so easy if someone is pissing in bottles to make it easy for you. And the gigification of the economy has, with revolutionary tech changes, made economic mobility almost impossible. As anthropologist David Graeber wrote nearly a decade ago about the so-called magical potential of the computer, they have provided the means by which employers have created flexible work regimes that have both destroyed traditional job security and increased working hours for almost everyone. Which is to say, we're all delivery guys now.
What's my job gonna be?
You'll be responsible for ensuring that the cargo reaches its destination.
So I'm gonna be a delivery boy?
And it's not just delivery apps cheerfully promising your food in under an hour while also underpaying their workers. any utopian idea for optimizing your economy may actually be a corporate scam in disguise. In Futurama, the planet uniting under a single flag doesn't make things better, it just clears the way for corporations to more firmly establish themselves as the real center of power. The best example of this is the mega corporation Mom Corp, led by a sweet old lady who is secretly a vicious tyrant. Like many of today's plutocrats, Mom projects a public image of herself as one of society's wealthy benefactors, providing vital public services from which she just so happens to make an immense profit.
Get his PIN number, you idiots! Now I'm off to some charity BS for knocked-up teenage sluts.
Mom has become one of the planet's most powerful figures by marketing her products as technological advances which will make life better. But the closer we look, the more sinister this promise seems. Mom Corp is actually directly responsible for creating the robots that could have ushered in a Jetsons-like future, but instead allowed her to become one of the planet's de facto rulers. By making a product which the entire planet uses, she can cut through the red tape that applies to everyone else, engaging in business practices that are both unethical and destructive. Specifically, it allows her to pursue profitable technological advancements no matter the cost.
This robot will never meet emission standards.
Crap, spackle! We'll just call it a sport utility robot and classify it as a light truck.
Futurama is totally upfront about the fact that humanity has destroyed the planet. By the year 3000, Atlanta has sunk beneath the sea, New York as we know it is in ruins beneath New York, and LA is, well, LA.
But everyone is driving around in cars, shooting at each other.
That's LA for you.
But the air is green and there's no sign of civilization whatsoever.
He just won't stop with the social commentary.
The show also makes it clear that greedy tech companies like Mom Corp are responsible for the climate crisis. After all, robots are the leading cause of greenhouse gas emissions.
If only I had made the effort to develop a cleaner burning robot. But I was tired and in love.
Take me now, you stud.
And even when this is discovered, these massive corporations are too powerful to face any real consequences. Mom will never agree to reduce the damage caused by her products, if that means reducing her profits. So instead, the leaders of Earth find themselves concocting other elaborate solutions.
Fortunately, our handsomest politicians came up with a cheap, last-minute way to combat global warming.
Emphasis on cheap and last minute.
Ever since 2063, we simply drop a giant ice cube into the ocean every now and then. Of course, since the greenhouse gases are still building up, it takes more and more ice each time, thus solving the problem once and for all.
Note that these absurd solutions which simply kick the can down the road are seemingly the only realistic things to do, because fixing the system is just so hard. The same sort of corporate-friendly, ultimately apocalyptic thinking is also applied when they defend the planet against a huge ball of garbage by deflecting it with an even bigger ball of garbage.
What if the second garbage ball returns to Earth like the first one did?
Well, who cares? That won't be for hundreds of years.
Exactly. It's none of our concern.
That's the 20th century spirit.
This sort of problem solving offers a perfect caricature of the kind of Silicon Valley tech optimism we see today. Even when these companies offer solutions, they have to stick within the very same status quo that created the problems they're trying to fix. Short-term measures like making apps to find clean drinking water instead of, not dumping toxic sludge into water supplies. Such solutions intentionally fail to address the root of any given problem because doing so would upset the highly profitable status quo. Futurama's world is basically a capitalist free-for-all where ads are stretched across every imaginable surface, even inside the customer's own minds.
Didn't you have ads in the 20th century?
Well, sure, but not in our dreams. Only on TV and radio. And in magazines, in movies, and at ball games, and on buses, and milk cartons, and t-shirts, and bananas, and written on the sky. But not in dreams. No siree.
Earth is no longer divided into nations, but carved up amongst whoever can afford to pay for it. And that goes beyond the planet itself. The moon has also been colonized and converted into a crass amusement park, complete with a botched version of humanity's space-traveling past.
That's not an astronaut, it's a TV comedian. And he was just using space travel as a metaphor for beating his wife.
That's especially significant because the quest to make it to the moon was central in America's techno-optimist narrative. If we could Neil Armstrong that shit, there was no telling what the future might hold. Luna Park is a depressing testament to where those bright-eyed predictions might take us. Each new frontier just becomes another piece of real estate for the highest bidder.
But it's just so artificial. The gravity, the air, the gophers. You might as well stay on Earth.
Watch today's billionaires bidding on asteroids and talking about Mars colonies full of indentured servants, and you have to say to yourself, Futurama kinda got a point.
This much money could feed a small, starving planet, but it doesn't.
In Futurama, Earth bros can travel to distant planets, have their injuries instantaneously repaired, and watch robots beat the hell out of each other for fun. But they still live in a society that regards them primarily as a highly expendable resource, funneling the value they create up towards their corporate overlords with ever greater efficiency. We see this firsthand when master bureaucrat Hermes decides to revolutionize the structure at a forced labor spa, cutting costs and maximizing efficiency by pushing his laborers to work harder than humanly possible. It's basically the exact opposite of the future we once dreamed of.
My Hermes got that hellhole running so efficiently that all the physical labor is now done by a single Australian man.
In the decades since Tomorrowland and the Jetsons, we've seen technology progress faster than ever. Today we have tons of new gadgets, many of which they actually predicted, everything from video calls to smartwatches to automatic dishwashers. But what Futurama emphasizes by drawing a direct line between its millennium and our own is that most people don't get to enjoy how dope progress really is. A small fraction of the population get incredibly rich, while the rest arguably work harder than ever before. Just like Mr. Jetson getting yelled at by his boss via video phones, our working days can now be endlessly extended by emails that follow us wherever we go. That's unless your job has already been replaced by an app, in which case, sorry man, but hey, we're probably next, you know? Futurama mimics techno-optimist fantasies of the past precisely so they can undermine their delusions.
Could one of you coffin stuffers please carry me?
It shows a world where the more things change, the more they stay the same. So what do you think, Wisecrack? Is technology gonna be our salvation? Would you rather watch videos hosted by deepfakes? Or is Futurama's cynicism a smarter way to think about the future? Let us know in the comments. Thanks to all our patrons for your support. Decimate that subscribe button like you're a corporate overlord with no regard for the future of humanity. And don't forget to ring that bell. And as always, thanks for watching, man. Peace.